Look, except for the friends.
Good morning, everyone. It is 10 a.m., and we will get started with the February 26th, 2025 License and Variance Board meeting. I'm Richard Garland, the Community Services Administrator for the City of Smyrna. To my left is Bo Jones, who is the Utilities Director for the City of Smyrna, Water and Utilities Director for the City of Smyrna, and to his left is Andrea Worthy, the Economic Development Director for the City of Smyrna, and we make up the License and Variance Board that will be hearing the request today. With that, we will get started with our formal business. Item A on the agenda is a privilege license, change of agent request, packaged beer, wine, and Sunday sales at 2955 Atlanta Road, Southeast Smyrna, 30080. Public Supermarkets Incorporated, doing business as Public Supermarkets Incorporated at 1250, or number 1250, with John Watterson as agent. Is there a representative for Public Supermarkets here? John, step forward, please, to the microphone. If you would, state your name for the record.
Yes, name is John Watterson.
Thank you very much, sir. So you're making application to be the agent of change for the Public Supermarkets. Can you give us your background to this point?
Yeah, with Publix.
Yes, sir.
I'm on my 25th year with Publix. I serve as a district manager, overseeing 10 stores in the greater Cobb area, going down to Atlantic Station up to Kennesaw,
Okay.
Mapleton, as well as some of East and West Cobb stores.
So have you served as a licensed agent in the past?
Yes, sir,
Previous
and Cobb
stores?
County as well.
Okay. In that service, have you had any altercations, any issues that you've had to deal with?
Zero.
Zero, okay. Can you explain for us the training that you and your staff receive and kind of what you guys do on an ongoing basis for point-of-sale services?
Yeah, we have the technology at the registers, of course, that prevents selling of alcohol during non-business hours of alcohol sales. We also require all associates that are performing sales at the registers or the customer service counter to go through yearly training through a computer-based training module put on by our corporate office that they have to pass. If they do not pass it, they cannot continue to be a cashier or work in a staff position. That includes all managers in charge that oversee the store when the store manager is not in operations.
Okay. And how many hours per week do you spend in the store?
I'm in stores 30 to 35 hours per week, visiting my 10 locations.
Yep. All right. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you very much. We will entertain a motion. Let me just say this before we do that. City of Smyrna, our police department takes the sale of alcohol to underage teens very seriously. So we do have an ongoing operation where they are doing secret shopper missions to ensure that these alcohol laws that are on the books are being followed. So be aware of that and be prepared for that to take place.
Absolutely. We also have a bars program that we pay a third party to do the same thing to all of our stores unannounced, that we pay across our company as well. And they receive the card if they pass or if they fail. So
Awesome.
They have to go through changes, and we have it perform disciplinary actions for anybody that does fail those bars checks by a third party.
Fantastic. And we have confirmed that the background checks are good? Okay, thank you.
I'm on B2. Do you want me to stay up here?
Yeah, you can hang around. We'll go through it'll be abbreviated, but we'll do the same thing again.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion?
We do. So I have a motion to approve license 2025-015, a privilege license change of agent request for packaged beer, wine, and Sunday sales at 2955 Atlanta Road, Smyrna, Georgia 30080, a Public Supermarkets, Inc., doing business as Public Supermarkets, Inc., number 1250, with John Watterson as agent.
Second motion.
We have a motion that's been properly seconded. Please vote. All in favor, raise your right hand, which we all did, in the affirmative. Thank you, Joe. Item B is a privilege license change of agent request, packaged beer, wine, and Sunday sales at 4480 South Cobb Drive, Southeast, Unit Suite L, Smyrna, Georgia 30080, Public Supermarkets Incorporated, doing business as Public Supermarkets Incorporated, number 753, with John Watterson as agent. You've heard my spiel. I imagine the same thing applies to this store. If you
Yes,
would
sir,
just-
absolutely.
All right, and we have confirmed that the background check is clean. Are there any questions for Mr. Watterson? We will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve privilege license, change of agent request, packaged beer, wine, and Sunday sales located at 4480 South Cobb Drive, Southeast, Unit STEL, Smyrna, Georgia 30080. Public Supermarkets Incorporated, doing business as Public Supermarkets Incorporated, number 0753, with John Watterson as agent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Which way would you like for us to operate, Jill? We could, okay, please vote. We can see if we can do both. All right, that motion passes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good? All right. Next item on the agenda is V25-013, which is a variance request to allow new construction on lot of record below minimum requirements, land lot 486 at 1068 McLendon Avenue, PLR Properties Incorporated, at the request of the applicant. This item is, ask for this item to be tabled. Can we hear a motion to table this item?
I motion to table V25-013.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote to table.
I'm voting positive.
That motion passes. Item D is a V25-015, a variance request of V25-015, reduce the required parking spaces, land lot 345 at 2596 South Cobb Drive, Silver Lodestone Incorporated. We have a request to withdraw this motion. Do we have a motion to withdraw this motion?
Motion to withdraw.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. There was 3 votes in the affirmative, Jill. Item E is variance request V25-016, reduce front setback on land lot 345 at 2596 South Cobb Drive, Silver Lodestone Incorporated. This item again has been requested to be withdrawn. Do we have a motion to withdraw?
A motion.
To withdraw.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That's 3 in the affirmative to withdraw that motion, or that request. I guess is what I should say that. Item F is variance request V25-017, reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 1 feet on land lot 345 at 2596 South Cobb Drive, Silver Lodestone Incorporated. Ms. Crowe, do you have the background on this? Are we going to? Okay. We have a request to forward this to mayor and council to the next available date that meets Zoning Procedure Act requirements. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I motion.
Second motion.
A motion and a second. So that will be moved to mayor and council at the next Zoning Procedures Act requirements available date. Item G is variance request variance request V25. 24-018, reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 6.9 feet at Land Lot 556 at 3435 Lee Street. Caitlin Walker is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, can we have the background on this item, please?
Yes, good morning. Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1 Community Development. That is really loud this morning, so sorry. I feel like I'm yelling at y'all. I'm going to move that back a little bit. Okay, so as you just read out, this variance is V25-018 to reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 6.9 feet. I am going to amend that. It's actually going to be moved from 10 feet to 5.3 feet. In discussion with the applicant earlier, they actually do need to include the 2-foot roof extension that's going to be added to this. Due to those eaves, we do have to reduce that to show the true extent of the setback encroachment. So again, this is going to be amended. It's still going to be V25-018, but it's going to be to reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 5.3 feet. So to the subject parcel is a 0.57 acre lot, which is located at an interesting intersection of Lee Street, Daniel Drive, and Forest Drive. So this subject parcel is currently occupied by an existing two-story single-family home, as well as a 384 square foot shed in the rear of the property. The former garage was enclosed back in 2017 prior to this, the applicant's ownership of the home, and thus currently there is no type of covered parking on the existing lot. So the applicant is looking to request this variance to reduce the side setback in order to put a 2-car garage on the property along with a 6-foot breezeway that will connect it to the house, making this part of the house as an addition rather than a second accessory structure. The reason that this breezeway will be included is they do have utilities on the daylight basement down below. So due to that, they will have that extension that will go over the utilities and again connect this to the home. There are no other variances needed to be able to get this addition, as all other setbacks are met, as well as they are under the impervious maximum of 35% for the lot. So because the subject property does kind of slope back to have that daylight basement, this is the logical area to put any type of extension, and thus the breezeway is also required just to make sure that those utilities are not also being moved and cause any detriment to this property or surrounding properties. In fact, similar variances have been approved in the area as recently as 2021 at 3463 Lee Street, and then back in 2019 at 1445 Collier Drive. So there is a precedence of this type of variance in the area. Community Development has not received any type of call in opposition to this request, and thus Community Development does recommend your approval with just the standard condition. Approval of the requested variance is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions for Ms. Crowe?
Can I say something?
Just a moment, sir.
You have a chance.
Do we have is Caitlin Walker represented?
Thank you.
If you could come to the microphone, please. If you guys would state your name so that they can get it for the record, please.
Good morning. I'm Caitlin Walker.
Caitlin
This is my
Walker.
husband.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. You've heard the background that Ms. Crowe has provided. Do you guys have anything that you'd like to add to that background?
No, she did a great job.
Okay, excellent. There was one stipulation that was attached to this variance request, and that's that you would complete this substantially compliance with the site plan.
Yes.
You guys understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the applicant?
You got it. My question is, just looking at the site plan, you're currently not using the existing driveway. How do you plan to reach that rear portion of that garage? Is there another, this is a garage addition, correct? Caitlin?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Oh, about the driveway?
Yes, ma'am.
We have already submitted a plan to create a new driveway that comes in off of Lee Street, which is actually our address anyways. And that was approved by the Transportation Department previously.
Okay, and I didn't see the side street, so I'm sorry.
No problem.
That's all I have.
No other questions? Okay. All right, you guys can have a seat if you want. please.
thank you.
Okay. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time. Step forward to the microphone and state your name, please.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Tom Donnelly. I live at 3400 Pretty Branch. We've lived here probably, well, my family moved here in 1965. You know, we've lived at 3400 since like 1982. Sometimes I have to laugh sometimes because I recently retired. I decided that after a heart attack and a stroke, I decided I might want to retire, and they suggested I might want to have a less stressful life. And in the meantime, I just kind of have to smile. There's some things that have happened. They're all true. They're not making them up. I have videos, photos, people, documents, and what have you. But you know, as far as what's going on here, I mean, I would like to actually be able to do this. You know, my own situation. I just want to take this an opportunity to document some issues concerning the end of Pretty Branch Drive. This issue, this property would go into that area next to our property. We own the property at 3400, and the family home is at the end of the street at 3412. I don't know whether to really actually read this or just check off some things. I just want to make sure some things are, I check some things off. But anyway, let's see. The original family home at 3412 was built in 1947 and was later purchased by the family in 1965. When we originally built our current home at 3412 Pretty Branch Drive, as noted, which was required that we document that everything being built there was out of the floodplain, which was done. The house next door at 3412 had part of the land in the floodplain, but the original house was always been out of the floodplain. Now, after a recent meeting with the city engineer, we understand that the flood plan is now expanding so that the house, the family home at 3412, is now being included in the flood plain. And obviously, well, if that's happening, that's kind of a big deal. You know what is happening. Obviously, there has been huge developments since 1965, and there has been more developments within the community neighborhood. No one wants to own a property in an expanding floodplain. It affects the value of the property, insurance costs, and can damage or actually destroy the property completely as well. I mean, you know, we're having issues now with mildew. What actually is happening is there is a culvert that goes under Forest Drive. And what happens there, it actually becomes a dam. I mean, I'm not making this up, there's videos and all. And it's like 10 feet higher on one side than the other. Well, what happens is it actually backs up to the family property, and it goes right up to the property, but it creates a pond up underneath the house, which is causing mildew and can make the house, you know, where you can't live there.
Sir, can I interrupt you for a second? What does this have to do with the variance that's in front of us today?
Well, this variance is the water goes to the creek above the same culvert. So what I'm saying is there are other things that have happened in addition to this. Like, for instance, like the Catherine Rose Lane, that had to have like basically a kind of retention pond to retain that, which I've actually been down there and seen that. And unfortunately, it doesn't go to the end of the street. And at the end of it, actually, it is not completely working the way it should be, because I can document where there's a water flow coming down from that as well. I'm not sure what's going to happen to actually.
Have you reached out to our city engineer about those concerns? Because today we're here to vote on the setback for that property for the driveway. It's
Well,
going
I
through the
have,
street,
but
so-
I just wanted to at least document some of these things that, things that have happened in that area, and just want to make sure that if we add something else, that there's, it's going to not go into that same problem area, causing a problem which could ruin the house.
Well, and before we meet on these variances, we have staff that looks at those types of things prior to any of that. But it sounds like you need to reach out to Mr. Wolf, the city engineer, stormwater engineer, about these issues and the street department. But we'll give you his contact information afterwards. It sounds like that's who you definitely need to talk to.
Right, I have that, and we're waiting to get some response. What I was going to say is I would learn to do the same thing, what they're doing here. Actually, I have a house, a card that I got from my dad when he passed away, and I want to add something to our house. But I'm not doing it because I'm waiting for all these other things to be resolved, because I don't want to have more runoff into above the culvert. So,
And it sounds like your situation is a little bit different due to your lot and with the runoff and storm piping, this, that, and the other. But if you'll come up with your plan that you're talking about to do something similar and reach out to Mr. Wolf, he'll definitely get back with you on that.
Okay,
And tell you what you can and can't do and what the best remedy is for the
yeah,
situation.
we talked with him back in August of last year. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak for or against this variance request? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V25-018, reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 5.3 feet. I had a little footnote there. Land lot 556, located at 3435 Lee Street. Caitlin Walker, applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. All right. That motion passes unanimously. Item H is variance request V25-019, a variance amendment for variance case V23-088 on land lot 664 at 2627 Argo Drive. Darrell Smith is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background, please.
All right, thank you. So again, Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1 Community Development. So this variance is V25-019, as you mentioned, for the variance amendment for variance case V23-088. So as the name suggests of the amendment, this was presented to you before the board back in 2023 with several variances to allow for a new single-family home construction there at 2627 Argo Drive. So after kind of going back and forth on the plans to get something that would be economically feasible on the lot, the applicant has submitted this application to you to further encroach the street side setback. So now it's going to be, instead of from 23.3 feet to 10.1 feet, it is now 10.1 feet to 4 feet. And again, that is for the street side setback, which would be amending that case V23-088. So when these were originally contemplated, there was no type of covered parking on this lot. That was just purely a driveway to park under. So the applicant currently has proposed a plan where I'll have 1,480 square foot home, which will now be further enlarged by the addition of a carport, which again will extend into that street side setback just due to the unique shape of this property, which is kind of shaped like a triangle in between two fairly busy roads there. So once this addition is added to this proposed plan, the home will be over 2,000 square feet, which would actually eliminate one of the variances that they previously sought due to that being the 1480 was below the requirement of 2,000 square feet. So this carport, although yes, it is further encroaching one variance, is eliminating one entirely. So because this property is less than 30% of what the typical R15 lot area is, the hardship is not self-created. Most homes these days do have covered parking of some kind, so this would just be bringing the home closer to align with nearby homes in the area and within Smyrna. At the time of this request, Community Development has not received any calls or emails in opposition to this request, and the staff does recommend your approval with the following three stipulations. So these stipulations were carried over from the previous approval to address some of those variance requests as well. So the first is our standard stipulation. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. Number two, the existing driveway entrance along Argo Drive shall be removed and replaced with curb and gutter and permanently stabilized prior to issuance of the certificate of occupancy. The existing sidewalk shall be reestablished once the driveway has been removed. And then number three, a stormwater inspection and maintenance agreement shall be completed and recorded with the Cobb County Superior Court, and an as-built certification statement submitted to Community Development prior to the issuance of the building permit. And I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Crowe. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Daryl Smith, you present? If you would, please step forward to the microphone. Thank you, sir. If you'd state your name once you get there.
Yes, sir. Daryl Smith.
Thank you very much. You heard the background that Ms. Crowe provided. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, sir. We were just, our goal is to add value to the neighborhood and at the same time try to create something that fit within a vision of what we wanted to put there. Unfortunately, after going through several different designs and trying to squeeze it into that space, we're kind of up against the wall as far as the amount of space that we have to work with.
Questions from Mr. Smith? You understand that there are three stipulations that are attached to this similar to the ones that you had on the previous variance request?
Yes, sir. They are included in the design.
Okay. And you guys understand that you're going to be asked to do those things?
Yes,
All right.
I am.
Excellent.
I just like to thank Ms. Crowe for dealing with us because we've been going back and forth, sending emails, and we have an idea and we bounce back and we have another idea. So I really do appreciate your help on this.
He's a rock star, for sure, for sure. All right. We have no questions. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time. Seeing none, we will entertain a motion.
I motion to approve variance V25-019, variance request, or variance amendment for a variance case V23-088 in land lot 664 at 2627 Argo Drive. Daryl Smith, the applicant.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote by whatever means necessary. Technology. Item I, that motion passes unanimously. Item I is a variance request, B25-020, reduce the rear setback on land lot 382 at 756 Park Manor Drive. Adam Hoffman is the applicant, and at his request, he'd asked that this request be tabled at this time to the March 12th meeting. We will entertain a motion to that effect.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please vote. That passes unanimously and will be tabled to the March 12th meeting. The next item on the agenda is item J, and it is variance request V25-021, increase the impervious surface area on land lot 382 at 756 Park Manor Drive. Adam Hoffman is the applicant. Again, at his request, we will be tabling this, or he was requesting that it be tabled to the March 12th license and variance meeting. We'll entertain a motion to that effect.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passes unanimously as well. Item K is a variance request V25-022, reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 28.6 feet on land lot 344 at 2831 Ivanhoe Lane. Kevin Ramirez is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background on this request, please.
Yes, again, Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1 Community Development. So this subject parcel is located on the north side of Ivanhoe Lane. As you mentioned, it is V25-022 to reduce that front setback from 35 feet to 28.6 feet. So this applicant actually has received a building permit back in December of 2024 to remodel the existing single-family home. Unfortunately, during the construction, the inspector did go out and noted that they had extended the scope of that permit and had encroached into the front setback with kind of a sunroom porch addition on the front. Soon after, the applicant did submit for the variance application and has kind of held off on doing any further construction on the property since then. So the applicant, as mentioned, does have a building permit to fully remodel this property. They are putting an addition on the back and are now proposing this front porch addition as well. They are actually going to reduce what is there today to, instead of putting kind of that sunroom combination with the porch, it will just be a front porch addition to kind of bring it back to what is in line with the surrounding community, again to 28.6 feet. So they are going to be removing a portion of what exists today. So with this, no other variances are needed, as the property does not have any other setback encroachments and they are under the 35% impervious coverage maximum. So the front yard is going to be remain mostly open with this front porch, which is pretty common these days to prevent any inclement weather or to enter into the inclement weather and just, again, bring it in line with what's happening in the community. So at the time of this report, Community Development has not received any type of call in opposition to this request, and this does recommend your approval with the standard condition. Approval of the requested variance is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevation submitted with the variance application. And again, I can answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Ms. Crowe?
All right, thank you.
Is Mr. Ramirez present?
Mr. Ramirez is out of the country and sent me to represent him.
Come on up, please. And if you, I heard you, but if you'd say that again so we can get it on the record. If you would state your name, please, and
My name's Mark Vargas. Mr. Ramirez is out of the country and he sent me to talk in his behalf in case it's
okay.
needed.
Is there anything that you'd like to add to what Ms. Crowe submitted?
That'd be all, thank you.
Okay. You have heard the standard condition as far as substantial completion in accordance with the plan that you provided?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You guys understand you need to comply with that?
We understand.
Okay. All right, awesome. Are there any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you very much. You can have a seat, sir.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time. Hearing none, we will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V25-022, reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 28.6 feet, located at 3831 Ivanhoe Lane. Kevin Ramirez as applicant.
A second.
Have a motion and a second, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you. Item L on the agenda today is a variance request V25-023, reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 19.1 feet on land lot 406 at 4208 Cheltenham Lane. Christopher Breen is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background, please.
Yes, so again, for the last time, Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1 Community Development. So this variance that we're going to hear today is just the one of V25-023 to reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 19.1 feet. I will note that we do have a second variance that you'll hear in just a moment that is to be withdrawn and is no longer needed for this project. So this existing home was built back in 1999 with the rear deck and stairs already encroaching into the rear setback, unfortunately without any of the proper variances at the time. Since the home was completed back in 1999, prior to the current owner's purchase, the hardship is not self-created. So the applicant is proposing to completely remove that deck and replace it with a new sunroom and accompanying open deck next to it. This will be expanding the deck, but it will actually be less of an encroachment, so it'll be more of a horizontal expansion than further towards the back. So it will be reducing the encroachment that currently exists today by 2.2 feet. So community development believes that this is the minimum variance needed to allow any type of replacement of this deck due to its current non-conforming location. Any type of replacement would have created this, and the applicant again has chosen to reduce that encroachment overall. A similar variance was approved nearby at 4114 Kenway Court back in 2015, so there is a precedence of this type of variance within the same neighborhood. At the time of this report, community development has not received any calls in opposition to the request, and thus recommends your approval with the following standard condition. Approval of the requested variance is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And as always, I am here to answer any questions.
Any questions from Ms. Crowe? Nothing from Ms. Crowe, as her voice struggles
Yes, I was
to
going
hang
to
on.
say, just that she's glad this is, we're wrapping up the agenda.
Not at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Breen? You would state your name for the record, please?
Yes, Christopher Breen.
Thank you very much. You heard the background, or maybe you didn't hear the background that Ms. Crowe provided. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Nope, very thorough. Thank you to Ms. Crowe and Mr. Wolf for all their assistance with the project.
There is one condition that is attached to this variance, and that's the substantial compliance as your site plan was presented. You guys understand you need to do that. You need to complete it that way.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything else for the applicant?
No.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone present who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
A motion to approve V 25-023, a variance request to reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 19.1 feet in land lot 406 at 4208 Chetlingham Lane. Christopher Breen, the applicant.
Second, Mrs.
We have a
Worthing.
motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passes unanimously as well. Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is variance request V 25-024, increase the maximum impervious surface area above 35% on land lot 406 at 4208 Cheltenham Lane. Christopher Breen is the applicant, and as Ms. Crowe stated, we will be entertaining a motion to withdraw this variance request as it's no longer needed.
Motion to withdraw.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is approval of the February 12th, 2025 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second motion.
And a second. Please vote. That's been approved as well. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board at this time? Hearing none, we will adjourn. Thank you.